Tony Geoffrey Owana welcomes you to OwanaPaedia, the one-stop center for Uganda's history and the history of the rest of the world. As usual, in charge of the technology is Herbert Semiano, and we want to thank you very much for your responses to whatever we have been loading up. We are happy that you have responded to our clarion call for t-shirts. The contacts have been given to those who expressed interest. I'm already clad in one, and you can see how smart I am. All these were done by Herbert Semiano while I watched, and he gave this to me on credit. I don't know whether his company will thrive if it goes that way.
The history of Buganda and Banyankole is so intertwined that there is quite a lot in common.
Abantu b'emiyaga tuli ba muliraano wano mayiro ntono ddala era tuli balunzi n'abalimi. Oluganda tulumanyi, bw'owoza mu Lunyankole Omuganda akusinga, bw'owoza mu Luganda n'Omunyankole akusinga. Tuli bantu abeegattidde awamu.
Abaganda bagamba nti emikwano nsi. Buli lw'obeera ng'olina mukwano gwo asinga ow'Oluganda lwo kubanga muteesa babiri.
Ffe abantu b'e Nakaseke abagatta Nkole ne Buganda mu guno omukolo tugusanyukidde nnyo.
We are in a period of electioneering, and one might confidently state that this country could be coming at another crossroads. We know that time heals many things, but we must also know that time also assists those who want to forget to forget. And since this is a channel for the preservation of the history of our country, we cannot watch as certain things happen. The National Resistance Movement government and Yoweri Museveni have been in power for 34 years. And in those 34 years, the NRM government has got its chance to make its own mistakes, some of them very serious. However, knowing that the politics of this country has now involved so many youth, the opportunities for misinformation and broad lying are even more immense than at any one time in our history. Some of the alarming misinformation we are sharing is, for instance, tribal. We hear that Yoweri Museveni and Kabaka Ronald Mutebi are terrible, terrible enemies. We hear that the Baganda and the Banyankole are traditional enemies, and that any time. And then you see politicians promoting this kind of thing, which worries anyone who has this country at heart. I think in the next few weeks we shall be dealing with the matter of distortion of history, so that, as OwanaPaedia always says, you make informed choices. If you have reason to hate someone for his or her tribe, you should have a very, very strong reason. Again, it would not be a solution for you to attack the tribe when the person who has annoyed you is an individual. Now, on 20th April 2002, a very, very historic thing happened in this country. Janet and Yoweri Museveni hosted at their home in Rwakitura Kabaka Ronald Mutebi and Nabagereka Sylvia Najinda. Given some of the attitudes you have encouraged yourself to build today, you might think this is a Photoshop story. But that event was well covered by the Presidential Press Unit, a team led by my senior colleague, James Emmanuel Magambo Serwadda. We are going to take you back to 20th April 2002 in order to show you the harmonious relations that exist between these two leaders and the tribal communities from which they come. We are not saying the possibility of differences of opinion and even tempers cannot exist, but I can boldly state that anyone who exploits differences of opinion between ethnic, religious, and tribal communities for political gain is the true enemy of the Baganda, the Banyankole, and Uganda at large. Let's take a trip back to Rwakitura on 20th April 2002, and we see whether this is evidence of hatred, especially as the picture on our screen demonstrates.
Saturday, 20th of April 2002, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni and his wife Mrs. Janet Museveni hosted His Highness the Kabaka of Buganda, Sabasajja Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, and Nabagereka of Buganda at Mr. and Mrs. Museveni's home, Rwakitura, Nyabusozi County in Mbarara District, Western Uganda. The Kabaka and Nabagereka of Buganda visited Mr. and Mrs. Museveni's home at the invitation of the President himself. He invited guests who included the people of Ankole and other Banyankole residing in Uganda, and those within the neighboring districts traveled to Rwakitura to join His Excellency the President and Mrs. Museveni hosting their guests. The Right Honourable Prime Minister of Uganda, Professor Apollon Sibambi, the Buganda Prime Minister Katikkiro of Buganda, Joseph Mulwanya Mwogerere, Buganda Cabinet Ministers, Central Government Cabinet Ministers, as well as Members of Parliament from Ankole and Buganda attended this function.
kwalirizaamu yawulira.
Omwebembezi w'eihanga n'omukyara we, omwebembezi wa Buganda, Kabaka wa Buganda na Nabagereka yebare kubateereza okwebembera abantu b'eihanga eri buri omwe omu muringo gwe. Mukama nitukusiima munonga ahabw'ekintu eki. Yebare kuguma noijuka Uganda nitukusiimira ensya nungi ei wateereza erizooba. Ebiri ahaiguru ebyo niwe bitegeka, ebyo mu nsi nobiteereza ngu bitureeberere omu magara gaitu ag'omutima n'ag'omubiri. Mukama webare kuteereza ensi nungi erikweza. Manya twija hano yahari kyamushana erije kuriisa amagara gaitu ag'emibiri ngu reero emitima yaitu yaheza kugira okwanihiro tugume nitimbisa izina ryawe ahabwa rukundo yawe ey'obuzaire. Abebembezi baitu aba baheereza omuraaro omurungi, heereza amaka gaabo emigisha erikukomoka hariiwe. Ekigabo itwaza kubaganaho giheereza omugisha gwawe. Deero neitu abakuza kuruga hano yatwijwire egyo migisha yawe tugende nitunanuka nitimbisa izina ryawe nitukaisa n'ekitiinwa ahabwa Kristo Mukama waitu.
Omukuru w'ihanga rya Uganda Yoweri Museveni n'omukyara wawe Janet Kabaka wa Buganda na n'abagereka ba Prime Ministers bombi wa Uganda no wa Buganda, abakuru b'amadini abaryaha Archbishop Paul Bakenga na Bishop wetu Elsa Kyambugambi na Sheikh Kaduyu n'abandi abakuru b'amadini omubitinisa byanyu neimo mwena abantu mwena omubitinisa byanyu okumuri kufitina tinisa numuja kunsasa tinguja kugenda mu protocol ngunazihezayo nka MP wetu kuyana bugamba aboka yosere nemwe nyone ningarakira ahishaza rito ahihe munonga kunga kamutina tinise muti naenda kutwara mu gishogo go kusima hanga munonga ntene bugarikiro okureba ngwizo bari twertategerezemu saba sajya nko kurana impurana n'abakwimbya na n'abagereka ryashyikira naenda ngumursimire munonga izo berto se turteka tekire ito MP wita kartugambira kare konka nicyo narsimira hanga aho kakagirimo ibindi hazamu okurwara hazamu nebindi konka narsimira mukama munonga kure yartukiriza kandi neimo mwenka mwize twakwakira saba sajya na nabagereka na kamara byona wa Buganda kunkora se mwogere ecyo ninkirera naenda kusima mukuru wetu wihanga no mucyara wawe okutworeka okukunda kumutana abo kuba kutwetaha nicyoreka okutukunda basheja mwana bakazi mu barya tikecyo bashemwe mbwene mu munsimire yebare okutukunda okatwestya tukakwekuba nyunkande bote nashoza omuntu watukonka rero tuyomba tumureba tugira ki ashoza tumu open roof ati agenda mbwira kukusimira munonga abantu abari barakwatsura mu ngaro baraganiye nayo barakoze buri kintu omucyara Janet tukusima munonga okubumuzire wihanga bakakweta mama Janet okuba mama wetu kandi buzimazima ecyo ninkirera nakusima omukuru wihanga omurundo gundi ahabo twikiriza tukatayisa kabaka omurundo gwa kabiri yebare kandi okatwikiriza tukareba nanabagere kubundi bombishani abo kandi nasheka nagite tinka mwishikira gato ngo nakwikata so nashemero munonga ninga nabugenzi banye ni mwashemero abo kubana bagereka nyomero mbishani nanye mukundira yonti ombishana tima kushankikiruza konka okukunda kutaruko kwita mbwena na nisima owikitinisa president wetu wa Uganda no mucyara wawe abo kwa tukatayisa Kabaka ruwenka hati twamutayisa na mugenzi we n'abagereka wa Buganda na nimpurana bakagera mbati so mbweno Kabaka twakushemererwe mbweno n'abagereka twakushemererwa so umfunze ndiyo nimpeza munsasere noreba cyakiri kirunje kwirira yo kakeka cyabakwa situgaruka kukireba nkeke hato butwagena buri muntu yazo muzubube ninge birungi bye konka kana keke tiyogaruka hotwo zuba so twakushemerwa n'abagereka omurinkore na nyabushozi twakwakira nani nyenda okugaruka kusiima abantu naragira owa mukama waitu okutweta twija tuti mwebare nabwe nimwesiima mwenga tikukima konka mwebare munonga munonga abo kubana we muzeyi yatweta konka nito kutweta tukaija nakyo nkyoriho kuyata okumukunda mwebare basimu.
To congratulate you, Your Royal Highness, for having got the Nabagereka for the Buganda Kingdom, Lady Sylvia Nagenda. The people of Buganda are very proud of this cultural achievement, and His Excellency the President wishes to share this joy with you by inviting you to Rwakitura and by inviting all of us who are here. His Excellency the President, our chief guests, the Kabaka and the Nabagereka, and all invited guests gathered here, I wish briefly to explore the importance of this cultural visit by the Kabaka of Buganda to the people of Ankole. The history of Buganda and Ankole is so intertwined that there is quite a lot in common. This commonality includes language, intermarriages, food, trade, and many other things which affect the daily lives of the two communities, that is the Banyankole and the Baganda. We observe and recognize Our Highness the Kabaka, the fact that there are many Banyankole who live in your kingdom and who are your subjects. These are both pastoral and agricultural Banyankole. The counties of Rwemiyaga, Kabura, Mawogora, Gomba, Nakaseke, and parts of Kiboga and Muwenda districts host mainly Banyankole cattle keepers. These Banyankole have historical roots in your kingdom, and many have migrated to Buganda over the years. Your Highness, the Kabaka and the Nabagereka, these are your people and have lived peacefully with their kin and kith, the Baganda, for a very long time. It is not only Banyankole, but your kingdom is a home for many people from all over many parts of Uganda. I attribute this to the good hospitality and culture of your people. May I also mention, Your Highness, that there are also many Baganda living in Ankole who have lived with us for a long time and whom we have coexisted with for a long time. These interactions and harmonious relationships between the two communities have shaped in many ways the history of Uganda. We as leaders ought to encourage and strengthen such social and cultural coexistence and harmony for the common good of our people. I therefore take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President and the First Lady Mama for having thought of such an occasion. It has given us the opportunity, Your Highness, to congratulate you upon having got Nabagereka. We also have had the opportunity to thank God for blessing you with a beautiful baby girl, the Omumbeja of Buganda. I sincerely thank you for having accepted this invitation to Rwakitura, which happens to be in my constituents of Nyabushozi and in Ankole. I wish you a pleasant stay with us in Nyabushozi. Let me take this opportunity to thank all the Banyankole and Baganda as well, who have generously contributed cows for gifts to the Nabagereka. Your Excellency, you requested me to contact people in certain counties, as I will mention them, who should help us to put in practice our culture of giving tangible gifts to a distinguished guest, particularly a king who is visiting. I would like them to be recognized by you, Your Excellency, because they have generously contributed. And as a matter of fact, it was such an easy task compared to what I thought. The list is long, And so I am going to request people to stand up for recognition in groups, but I also would like to request Mr. Nixon Nwagaba Kabuye to assist me to read out these names for your recognition. We shall be able to hand over typed, well-organized list to you so that you can know exactly who has answered your call in terms of giving you the gifts. This is part of Banyankole culture. I'll start with Gomba County. These gifts have been contributed mainly by cattle keepers in Gomba County. They have been able to raise 23 cows from the constituency.
From Kanoni, Hajibuju, Edmond, Julius Mutabazi, Karinjiri, Tumuheirwe.
Abagenyi mwenna abali wano. Sebo President, njagala okwebaza olw'abantu b'e Nakaseke olwa kino ky'okoze. Ffe abantu b'e Nakaseke abagattankole ne Buganda mu guno omukolo tugusanyukidde nnyo. Era tukwebaza kubanga kituwadde omukisa okulaga obuwulize bwaffe eri Ssaabasajja Kabaka ne Nnaabagereka. Gwe obuwulize bwaffe obumanyi bulijjo, Your Excellency ne maama. Abantu b'e Nakaseke ono Mary Muchenyi we yafunidde lisiti babadde bakaleeta ente 42 n'embuzi emu, naye kati zeeyongeddeko ziri 45. Ate era kyemmanyi Ssebo Ssaabasajja lw'oliba oyiseeko e Nakaseke ate ndowooza zirisingawo. Asookedde ddala ku lisiti Ssebo ye President wa Luweero District Haji Abdul Naduli n'omukyala. Awo baleese ente 2 namba. Ssebo okwo kuzzeeko omubaka w'abantu ne Haji Bumba. Tuleese ente 3.
The people of Ankole and other Banyankole residing in Buganda and mobilized by President Yoweri Museveni donated to the Kabaka of Uganda, His Highness Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, 370 cows as gifts to congratulate him upon getting the kingdom. The Nnaabagereka and Princess Katrina Sangalyambogo. President Museveni himself and his wife, Mrs. Janet Museveni, donated to the Kabaka 100 cows, while other 270 cows came from the 7 counties of Nyabushozi, Kazo, Kabula, Remiyaga, Mawogola, Gomba, and Nakaseke.
Buli lwayogera ku linnya lyo awulira ng'emmeeme muli wamu. Tukwebaza olw'okutulowoozaako n'otuyita okujja okwegattako okwaniriza baffe Ssaabasajja Kabaka wa Buganda. Ssebo weebale nnyo, weebalire ddala. Bano be baatonye okuva mu ssaza ly'e Gomba. Nze kamwa koogera n'omukyala wange Ruth Kalule Ssengo ate nga mukozi wo Ssebo. Omwami n'omukyala Ssewanyana George okuva e Kabulasoke mbasaabayimireko be mbansomye. Omwami n'omukyala Ssemanda Matia naye nga w'e Kabulasoke. Omwami n'omukyala Muzula Moses.
And on behalf of the people of Remiyaga, we very much welcome you to visit this Rwakitura. Your Excellency, ne Ssaabasajja Kabaka, abantu b'e Rwemiyaga tuli ba muliraano wano mayiro ntono ddala, era tuli balunzi n'abalimi. Oluganda tulumanyi, bw'owoza mu Lunyankole Omuganda akusinga, bw'owoza mu Luganda n'Omunyankole akusinga. Tuli bantu abeegattidde awamu. Ssebo Magulu Nnyondo, nzikiriza nyanjule gy'oli amakula gano. Basomye ente 23 nedda, tuzimaze ne tuziweza ente 24 zedda zini 2.
Baga nti ennyonyi ento yeyigiriza enkulu okukola ki? Kino tikibanga nawo okulaba nti President atudde ne Ssaabasajja Kabaka kye tubadde tuludde okulaba emyaka. Ekyokubiri, omukwano gwe muyina ababiri. Abaganda bagamba nti emikwano nsi. Buli lw'obeera ng'olina mukwano gwo asinga ow'oluganda lwo kubanga muteesa babiri. Era abakulembeze ababiri bemutudde awo tumanyi nti engeri gye mwagalana Uganda ne Buganda bijja kwongera okwekulaakulanya. Fe abeekabula waliwo olugero olugamba nti omugagga bw'abeera ku kyalo embwa zifa magumba. Omugagga bw'abeera ku ki? Sebo okubeera wano nga tuli bamulirwana, tuli basanyufu nnyo kubanga abagenyi bajja basula waffe akasente ntufuna ntulembeka. Ekyo tukikusiimira sebo. Sijja genda wala, nja kuyita mbimpimpi ngaali misomwa mu bantu bange abeekabula nina abalimi n'abalunzi nga bw'omanyi nti ffe tuli bazulunga Olunyankole, Luganda, abava e Kabaale, bonna ffe tulina era tuli bumu, tetusosola. Era twasonze member parliament wa Nyabusozi asomye 26 naye mbadde ntudde awo omulala n'akwatibwa ekinyegenyege n'aga nti nange nedda ne tuweza ente 28.
And now, His Excellency the President is going to address the guests.
And all of the dignitaries who are here today. This idea of gathering here was my idea. It was my idea because I come from the cultural group of this area who believe deeply in the culture. Now, when your relative gets married, on the following day, the relatives and the friends of the bridegroom come to perform what they call Okurabukira. Okurabukira, they come to give gifts to the bride. Now, our dear friend, His Highness, the Kabaka of Buganda, got an Abagereka some years ago. When that happened, I formed this idea that I must get time, invite His Highness to Rwakitura and show him and the Nabagereka, the culture of the Banyankole, which is Okurabukira. It should have been done the following day, or a few days after, but I did not have the time to do it. So the purpose of calling you here is to ask you to Kurabukira the Nabagereka. Kurabukira is not Kutoija. Kutoija is another matter, is another issue. That is tribute. But this is Okurabukira, to give gifts to the bride. It is a few years behind, but it doesn't matter. It was because of shortage of time. Then, when a woman gives birth, again the relatives and the friends of the family come to do what we call Okwemba. Okwemba Mzeire. Again, you give gifts. You come and you give gifts. You give gifts to the mother who has just delivered a few days previously. Now, the Nabagereka was blessed with a princess, and we did not have time to kuhemba her. So we are now here to kuhemba the Nabagereka. Thirdly, you know that I fought in Buganda, in Luwero. I've never had time to thank the whole of Buganda for standing with me throughout all these years of struggle. During the war against Obote, during the subsequent political wars which we have been fighting. So I thought I should use this occasion to symbolically salute my comrades in Buganda for standing with me in the successive wars. Now, then the question arose in my mind. I said, who should accompany me in this Kurabukira, in this Kuhemba? First, I thought of my home county, Nyabushozi. Then the counties neighboring Uganda, that is Kazo and so on. Then in Buganda, there are many counties, as you know, where there is a sizable number of Banyankole, who are mainly cattle keepers, but also those who engage in cultivation. And then there are our other comrades, freedom fighters in Buganda. So I thought of those areas where either we had fought or these areas where these Banyankole live, and I thought they could come and assist me, be with me in Okurabukira, the Nabagereka. The history of Uganda is not new history. These days you speak, in the recent centuries, you speak of Buganda, Bunyoro, Toro, Ankole, and the chiefdoms of Busoga. But if you go to Maogora, the county of Sam Kutesa, which he represents, also represented by Sechikubo, you will find the ancient capital of the old kingdoms of Uganda there. Bigobya Mujenyi, Mtutsi. I saw somebody coming from Mtutsi. Recently, they did archaeological work there, and they found that that area, those palaces were there from the year 900 AD to the year 1500. Those were the old kingdoms of this part of the world. Then later on, these new kingdoms arose. So the history of Uganda is not new. And it was not the British who created Uganda. You can know this through the names of the people. If you hear names like Wamala, that's a name you find in Uganda, you find in Bukoba, Tanzania, you find in Bunyoro, in many parts of this area, even in Congo. Names like what they call in Nyankore Mugasha, in Uganda they call him Mukasa. These are common names. Mulindwa. All those names were names of some of our ancestors who are commonly called Batwezi. Therefore, the history of this area is a common history, either a common or intertwined history. It is therefore good that we should preserve and develop this culture. My position on kingdoms, you know very well, is that really the kingdoms can be useful if they are constructively used, because they are definitely a part of the history of Africa. If it was not for the rain, I will go into the details of how they have contributed. However, since we came here today to mainly do Kurabukira, the Nabagereka, and you have done it very well. I thank all of you, the people of Mohogora, with your 42 cows. Mwenabe Mohogora njagala kubebaza kulwo Kurabukira Nabagereka ente 42. Abekazo ente 56. Abene kaseke ente 45 n'embuzi emu. Abegomba ente 23. Aberumiyaga ente 24. Kabula ente 28. Nyabushozi ente 54. Zona okuzigata wamu ente 207. Fabalunzi bofuna ente nga zino tozirundira wamu ozisalamu ebiralo. Buli kiralo kiba kirungi kibeeremu ng'ente 15 bwe zityo bwe zigenda okubeera obulungi. Nolwekyo kati mukiraba nti kati His Highness the Kabaka mumuwadde ebiralo 2 by'ente amasya 2. Nze ku lwange nandibadde njogala bingi naye kuba ku lw'enkuba saagala ku njagala tu egenze naye ku nze ku lwange kubanga nze ndi wano mu biti nga 3 ekyokusooka ng'omulwanyi ate eyalwanira mu kitundu kyaffe ekyeruweero. Ekiro kyokubiri nga president wa Uganda. Nasooka kuyita mu kulwana naye ate bwanyuma bwanyuma n'Olunyankole ate oluvannyuma ne mumpa obululu. Ate ekyenkomerero ng'omuntu amanyi ebyobutonde bwaffe, nze okulabukira Nabagereka era n'okumuhemba ndonayo ente eyo zinawe ziri eyo ngenda kumuweereza ente 10. n'olwekyo bwe tugattako zino awo tuba tumwedde kabaka ebyalo bisatu amasyashatu ente 37 mwebale nnyo mwebale ddala.
And after his address, His Highness the Kabaka of Uganda Ronald Mutebi II came also to address the guests.
Mama Janet n'abo mu nju ya wano, Prime Minister wa Uganda, abagenyi abakulu mwenna, abantu b'ennyabushozi, abantu b'Omwankole. Okusooka njagala okusiima ennyo ennyaniriza ennungi ennyo gye mutulaze wano olwaleero, mmwe ng'abantu b'ennyabushozi, abagenyi abavudde mu bitundu eby'enjawulo, nammwe mwenna abazzeeko wano okusanyuka awamu naffe. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Njagala okwebaza President ne Mama Janet olw'ekyemisana ekirungi kye batuwadde wano olwaleero. Ssebo President, nga bw'okimanyi nti mu Buganda empisa eri nti Ssaabasajja Kabaka bw'aba ng'akyaddeko mu maka g'omuntu n'alyayo ekyemisana oba ekyeggulo, ye y'aba agabudde. N'olwekyo njagala okusiima abo bonna abatasobodde kujja wano kunneebaza okugabula olwaleero. Ssebo President ne Mama Museveni, ku lwange ne ku lwa Nnaabagereka tusiimye nnyo omwoyo gw'otulaze bwe waleeta ekirowoozo eky'okutuyita wano okutukulisa embaga, okulabukira era n'okutukulisa Omumbejja ssanga lya Mbogo. Ekirowoozo kino nkimanyi nti obadde nakyo okumala ekiseera era tukyogeddeko emirundi, n'ontegeeza n'onsuubiza nti bw'onooba nga ofunye akaseera ekituubizo ekyo ojja kituusa, era olwaleero okituusizza. Tusiimye nnyo, tusiimidde ddala. Omukolo guno mukolo mukulu nnyo. Okusooka gulagira ddala wa eggwanga lino we lituuse mu nkolagana y'abantu ab'enjawulo ate abooluganda. Okulaba abantu nga basanyuka, nga bali wamu, buli omu ng'asanyuka mu ngeri ye, kintu kikulu nnyo, kintu kiragira ddala obukulu eggwanga liriba lituuseeko. Ate era mu ngeri endala omukolo guno gulagira ddala oluganda n'omukwano oguliwo mu makkati g'Abaganda n'abantu b'Omwankole. Ebyafaayo bitulagira ddala nti omukwano ogwo gukoze kinene nnyo mu byafaayo by'ensi eno Uganda, era twagala okulaba nti omukwano ogwo gukyagenda mu maaso. sirina we ntandikira okwebaza abantu bonna abatuwadde amakulu ag'ettendo ge tuwuliddeko wano olwaleero. Kintu kiyitirivu nnyo. Njagala okwebaza abo bonna abakoze omukolo ogw'okukuŋŋaanya ente ezo, abeewaddeyo, abeefiirizza. Ebiseera bye tulimu kaakati biseera bizibu nnyo eri eggwanga lyaffe eri abantu baffe. Ebintu byenfuna tukyabirwanako, n'olwekyo omuntu okuba nga yeewaayo kiraga omukwano, kiraga ekitiibwa omuntu oyo waba atadde omuntu wabadde awadde amakulu ago. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Neebaza abo bonna abatambudde okuva mu bitundu ebyenjawulo, abavudde mu masaza ageesudde ewalako, abavudde mu bitundu ebiri okumpi ne wano. Nsanyuse nnyo okubalaba. Nsanyuse nnyo okuwulira ebigambo bimwogedde. Nsanyuse nnyo abantu abazze wano kutusanyusaamu, bannaffe ab'endere, abaana abato abavudde mu ssomero eriri okumpi ne wano. Tusiimye nnyo, tusiimidde ddala. Katonda abakuume.
Focused on OwanaPaedia. If what you have just seen is evidence of hatred between two leaders and two ethnic communities, then our lesson has only just begun. You are reminded that the only way you can fully benefit from what we produce is by subscribing, in addition to also placing orders for these t-shirts at a fee. Herbert says they are only 35,000 shillings, and when you convert that into dollars, it is even less money. Please stay tuned to OwanaPaedia as we prepare for you more about the government of President Tito Okello Lutwa, as we had promised. Also coming up in line is the terrible accident that occurred way back in 1988 when our Uganda Airlines plane crashed in Rome and most of the passengers and the entire crew perished. Stay tuned to Awanapedia. Without history, you have a great future behind you.